Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day. I've been really enjoying mine as the prodigal sons of the Buckeye State have returned. That's right, the Black Keys have dropped their 12th album, and it rocks. You don't see that many bands put up that kind of numbers these days, but you can count on Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney to consistently make great records. Their latest is called Ohio Players. It's a sly reference to both their Midwestern Akron roots and of course to the Dayton area funk dynamos that you may remember as the one who sang on that Whopper commercial that time. Man, I'm kinda hungry now. When we last saw the duo 2 years ago, they released a decent full-length Dropout Boogie, which sounds good listening through, but the hooks simply aren't very sharp. The songs don't tend to linger with you. While most of the tracks on the album are simply written by the band, one standout, Good Love, featured ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons. And the cracklin' energy seems to have inspired the gents to invite more pals to play in the Black Keys sandbox. For Ohio Players, they summoned some incredible friends to Nashville to join in on the sessions. Alternative icon Beck headlines the Ringers, co-writing and jamming with the Keys on 6 of the 14 songs. But he's hardly the only notable name involved. Noel Gallagher, the mastermind behind British rock heroes Oasis, co-wrote 3 of the songs. 2 big name producers got involved as well. Dan the Automator Nakamura, who's probably best known for co-producing the Gorillaz debut album, as well as producer Greg Kurstin, who actually worked on Gorillaz' most recent album, but is probably most widely known for his chart-topping singles with Adele and Sia. The most left-field addition is Juicy J of Dirty South rap icons, 3 6 Mafia, who spits fire on a track featuring Beck. If you've mainly stuck to the Black Keys proper LPs, this might seem way out there, but the Keys were never shy with dabbling in hip-hop. And Black Rock, their 2009 rap rock mashup album, is far better than it seems to get credit for. Okay, that's more than enough jibber jabber. Let's talk the new album. 'Cause this is no way. Already one of the highlights of my year. A wonderfully scuzzy dual octave guitar line drives the momentum over an in-the-pocket breakbeat, which harkens back to the simple chemistry of the guitar and drums duo. The arrangement opens up from there, adding sun-kissed backup vocals, humming electric organ, and buzzing synthesizers. Reading the lyrics out loud, "This is nowhere," seems depressing, but sung cheerily along with the warm gliding dynamics, it sounds like a friendly invitation to get lost. Tailor-made for a legendary road trip. Like so many bands, the Black Keys tend to front-load an album. It's usually not a bad idea to get some of your best tunes at the top of the order. Not quite sure how it took 7 credited writers to write Don't Let Me Go, but it's a clear standout. The chorus hook is strong and engaging. The background vocals and a subtle horn section really selling the melody. The rhythm struts with sexy wah-wah guitar wails. And yes, it is quite slickly produced, but still, authentically, it's the Black Keys. It's a fantastic song. Probably the funkiest song on the record. Not quite Ohio Players funky, but it has an undeniably kicking groove. The lockstep rhythm dances, embellished with punchy brass, a bubbling bass line, and soul claps, enhanced by Nakamura's hip-hop mastery that keeps the precise beat feeling fresh and alive. While the Keys are no stranger to wordless refrains, I have a sneaking suspicion that Beck may have come up with the na-na-nas on the bridge. From E-Pro to Wow, Mr. Hansen always enjoys adding some catchy nonsense if he can. Who are we to argue when it works? The chorus is an irresistible earworm, and the vibe feels like a straight-up block party. If Beautiful People doesn't get you moving, you might have to check your pulse. Everybody's on the game. This is the first song co-written with Noel Gallagher, and yeah, I can totally hear it. From the rambling mid-tempo rhythm that is in no hurry, to the George Harrison-esque melodic guitar lines in the chorus. He even plays a non-flashy solo that fits snugly in the bridge. There's quite a few backup singers, so I could barely make him out, but his fingerprints are all over the track. They released this as a single when the album dropped today, so hopefully it'll make some headway. If the music industry wasn't so insanely fragmented, it would be a top 40 hit, extremely memorable. I'm a bit of a sucker for tasteful horn arrangements, and I love how the baritone sax is basically the bass part during the verses. It has an excellent contrast between the darkly colored tremolo guitar tinged verses to the explosion of the snare beating sing-along chorus. You could tell a lot of time was really put into the harmonies on the choruses throughout the album, and the attention to detail really carries some of the melodies to sublime heights. Well, they can't all be home runs. I'm a little torn because half the song is pretty solid. The first part has a laid-back rhythm with a liquid guitar line. But when it gets chopped and screwed halfway through, and underground rapper Lil Noid starts dropping somewhat pedestrian bars over a trap-type beat, it loses me. Auerbach has made similar juxtapositions work before, even as recently as the killer Suicide Squad track with Action Bronson, but this one just doesn't hit quite as hard.
Oh, I forgot to be your lover.
At first, it sounded like a Forgotten Stack song, which makes sense because then I looked it up and found out it was a cover. Turns out my instincts were right on the mark. It was co-written by Booker T. Jones, who was the leader of the Stax house band, Booker T and the MGs. The soul ballad was originally recorded by William Bell for Stax Records. While I enjoy the Black Keys' take on it, it's not quite as good as Bell's Burning Ballad. What can I say? I'm a sucker for those Memphis horns. Auerbach sings an emotional vocal on the tune though, and the string arrangement is quite lovely. I saw several comments on the original on YouTube saying that they were brought to it from the Black Keys. So if nothing else, the band is bringing a forgotten classic to fresh ears, and that's always cool to hear. This is basically a noisier 12-bar blues rocker, and the closest the record comes to the Keys' earliest records. It's kind of simple, and hard to imagine many people will cite it as their favorite. Pat Carney's drum shuffle is pretty fun though, along with the twangy, ringing guitar riff. I imagine it'll be pretty fun to see live. Kind of a filler song, but not a total dud. I really dig the ballroom piano line along with the chugging R&B saxophone. They dance along with an almost tango-like rhythm. And can we also praise Dan Auerbach's falsetto? Few in modern rock and roll would even try to touch that height, let alone crush it. The sheer amount of different guitar textures in the song is also impressive, from dusty desert echoes to buzzing squalls of delay and sharp treble chords. It's a guitarist's wet dream, yet the lines are dispatched tactically along with a humming electric organ and reliably stellar stomping drum line from Pat. It's a really great album cut. This song says it features Beck, and of the 6 Beck songs co-written on the album, this is definitely the Beckest cut of the bunch. From the thumping bass-heavy groove and turntable scratches to the where it's at Wurlitzer action, he seems to be in a collaboration mood. His song with Phoenix last year was a shimmering summer jam. Paper Crown is undeniably awesome. I'm sure some folks will skip over this track, but the chorus really hits. And unlike Candy and her friends, not only does Juicy J deliver much better bars that really flow over the G-Funk synthesizer breakdown, but the song manages to tie him and the band back all together in the end. That really makes it a satisfying song structure. It's not for everyone, but I'd call it one of the best songs on the record. Definitely a fun one. Come on, it's a blast. Overall, the song sounds pretty good. It's got a lot of great flourishes. From the cowbell clank to distant twinkling piano, the color around the walls of crying guitar, and the straightforward but effective drum shuffle. However, it's the shortest song on the album, for a reason. It seems a little underbaked, with the hook not quite as strong as others on the record. From the title to the progression, it paints the most Wild West vibe of the whole album. The surf rock guitars really slay, with the hollow, reverbed out solo slithering like a serpent. The drum clap really keeps the rhythm kicking, and the chorus is sneakily catchy. On some of their lesser albums, it might have been a standout. Here it gets a little lost among the sharper material. It's a pretty upbeat album overall, but could we really go an entire record without a ballad? Not a chance. You need a song with some heaviness and some gravity to give the LP some balance after all. It's a pretty solid song with some great guitar riffage from Dan, and it has some gorgeous backup vocals in the bridge. You may notice that it's another song that Beck has co-written with some na-na-nas in it. I certainly did. Doesn't quite work out as well as Beautiful People. It's not Little Black Submarines or anything, but it's still a solid track. Another trick of the trade is to make the last song so good that you just want to put the album right back on. Every Time You Leave is one of the best tracks for sure, with producer Greg Kurstin engineering a dynamite arrangement and even contributing on keys and percussion. The drum beat is huge and bombastic. It feels club ready. The way the instruments fade in and out is almost magical. It swings from being a sparse groove to swelling electro pop. There are so many layers that add incredible dynamics. The Black Keys couldn't let an album end without some fireworks, and Every Time You Leave is a total banger. Alright, snap judgment time. After playing through the record and really digging it, I'm confident in saying Ohio Players is their best album since Let's Rock. Right now, I'm grading it a solid B+, but it's trending up toward an A. It's more immediate than Dropout Boogie, though it doesn't rise to the lofty levels of the Twin Gems, Brothers, and El Camino. It's definitely well worth your time, and I can't wait to hear it blasting out of car stereos this summer. For the highlights, This Is Nowhere is a must listen, along with the singles Beautiful People Stay High and On the Game. And album cuts Don't Let Me Go and Every Time You Leave, with those two beginning and ending the album with some of the best tunes. And although I feel it will be a really divisive song, I thoroughly love Paper Crown. Definitely not for the purist, but it's a wild time. What about you though? What's your initial gut reaction? Which songs are you digging? Which songs stand out most to you? I'd love to hear from you. So drop a comment down below and we'll continue this conversation. I think we could all agree it's great to have the Black Keys back, and rock and roll ain't dead just yet. Looking forward to hearing from you. Hope you stick around the channel, and thank you for watching. BlackRock, their 2009 hip-hop rap rock. BlackRock, their 2009 rap rock match. All right, I got this.